Welcome to Reconcile the Kingdom, where we're working towards becoming a harmony of the whole word of truth. My name is Patrice Robinson, and I appreciate everyone who's able to join me live and also those who are able to join me on the replay. And if this is your first time here, I welcome you. Second, third, fourth, or 300th time, I welcome you here on today. So I'm going to start off with some announcements, and I just want to bring some things to your attention. For example, Instagram. If you are not following me on Instagram, I highly encourage you to do that because Instagram is totally focused on the feast, the calendars, the appointed times, and things like that. So that's where Instagram is. And so Facebook is actually going through its repurpose, and the purpose of Facebook is going to be explore the scriptures on scripture sound bites, and look forward to that coming in the new biblical year. And how will you find out about the new biblical year and when that is coming? If you follow me on Instagram, I will make those announcements so that you will be looking forward to that. And actually make those announcements for the new biblical month and also in of all of the social medias. That is important for everyone to be ahead of that and understand that. So I'm also hoping that on Wednesday that you'll follow me through the social media. That every Wednesday I put out a recommended playlist, and that is to help us stay connected, encourage us to stay in the Word. Don't wait till only Tuesday when we go to Torah Studies at 7 o'clock p.m., which is only on Facebook and YouTube, or wait till Saturday on the Sabbath day where we are just live on YouTube for Yeshua, following his footsteps, and that's the teaching that we are on Saturday. So I really hope that you are taking advantage of those playlists Wednesdays and that you're joining me around those times to encourage you to most definitely stay in the Word. Also, at the bottom of your screen, you will see the hit the subscribe button. So all of these prompts that I give you is to remind you to do those YouTube things, Facebook things, and all the things of following so that we can grow as a community and get the word out. Because many people try to ignore the Old Testament studies, most definitely from Genesis, Deuteronomy. They don't think they need that anymore. And I just recently had a conversation with someone, and because many people just study the New Testament, you're not getting the whole word, and you will miss the importance of the Old Testament. For an example, we had a conversation about sin, and sin wasn't recognized in the Old Testament. That where they were coming from, and it wasn't against sin wasn't against you, but we did have a healthy discussion, and we talked about how judgment was from the beginning and is all the way to the end. So this is one reason why we do not want to ignore the Old Testament, the Tanakh. So the goal is to learn the whole word together. That's putting together the Old and the New Testament, the Tanakh and the Brit Hadashah together in order to get the grasp and understanding of the whole word of truth. So this is why I'm here, and this is why I encourage Torah studies on Tuesdays and then studies on Saturday, and putting that whole word together. So don't forget to share this live premiere with your friends and family. And if you're watching this on a replay, don't forget to comment, share this video by the time you watch it on a replay so that we can make sure that everyone is getting the basic study. The basic study is what we do. And the basic study for many people is a deep study because they don't get this level of study in their non-denominational, denominational, or religious systems. So this is why we continue with that level of study. So last week we had began Genesis chapter 21. We went through verse 1 through 21. And we kind of focus on the incident that happened with Ishmael mocking Isaac. So this was disturbing to Sarah, and Sarah said that Hagar and her son had to go. So we kind of focus on that relationship from Ishmael and Isaac and what the possibility that could have been like, because it's such an age gap between them. We have Ishmael, which was between the age 19 and 20, and Isaac was being weaned, so he's between age 2 to 5, even up to age 6 years old. And the question that I thought about that came to me was Ishmael jealous of Isaac? Because what we see Isaac having a celebration of him being winged. We don't find any information in the word to tell us that Ishmael had that type of attention. So it could have been a relationship issue because Ishmael possibly was jealous of Isaac. And we know that Abraham's heart ached when Sarah said that Ishmael had to go. And don't worry, Jehovah encouraged Abraham. This go ahead and move forward with that decision that Sarah made, that he will be most definitely bless Ishmael. And we see Israel being blessed because Yehovah was with him. That's how we ended. Jehovah was with Ishmael. Ishmael became a archer and he married an Egyptian woman. Remember, Hagar was an Egyptian woman. So we most definitely recognize that information. So we are going to finish Genesis chapter 21, and we are going to verse 22 through 34. So make sure that you have your Bible in front of you. Make sure that you have all the right utensils that you need. And some of you, it might be good if you have your Strongs in front of you, because we are going to take a look at a specific word. And I think we need to take a look at that word. So, Genesis chapter 21, verse 22 is where we are. And it reads as, "And it came to pass at the time that Abimelech and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, Elohim is with thee in all that thou hast doest. Now therefore swear unto me here by Elohim that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned." Abimelech is recognizing the Elohim of Abraham. He recognized Elohim with everything that Abraham does. He see that he is blessed by Elohim. So I don't want us to forget that Abimelech had a conversation with Yehovah back in chapter 20. Remember when Sarah and Abraham said they were siblings and he took them in. I don't think we need to go through that whole story. That event. Remember, we come from the word story. I don't think we need to go back there, but he had an encounter with Yehovah. He considered himself righteous because it was unrighteous in his eyes to take Sarah if Sarah was married. And Jehovah did not challenge Abimelech when he considered himself righteous. So he knows, he understands that Jehovah is with Abraham, and he experienced that firsthand. And so they recognize again that Jehovah's with Abraham and that he just wanted Abraham to deal nicely with his descendants, because what happened when they first had an interaction with Abraham? Abraham was being false. That's how his kingdom became under the mercy of Jehovah with that whole ordeal with Sarah and Abraham. So he just wanted to make sure that you don't deal falsely with my children or my children's children. So that's where Abimelech is with Abraham. Verse 24. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of the well of water which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not who have done these things, done this thing. Neither dost thou tell me, neither yet heard of it, but today. Abimelech took and Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. So Abraham took the opportunity with Abimelech to address the issue of the well. So this well wasn't just taken over, this well was violently taken from Abraham's servants, from Abimelech's servants. So he wanted to address this, and Abimelech has not heard anything about this. Now, you and I both know, according to the word, if Abimelech had heard of this, I'm pretty sure he would have corrected that situation immediately, because again, Abimelech had experience with Yehovah when it come against Abraham. So he most definitely would have addressed that issue immediately. Verse 28. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 ewe lambs which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that thou may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Whereforever he called that place Beersheba, because there they swore both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. And Abimelech rose up and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. So here we understand what happens to the land of Philistines. So although there has been a covenant made with Abraham and Abimelech, and we will get to there what happens to the land of the Philistines, but Abraham most definitely wanted to address that well, because that land is promised to his descendants. He wasn't trying to not leave anything for his descendants, because they will be inherit their land, and he wanted to make oath in the covenant that this most definitely would continue with Yehovah. And verse 33, it's important to take close attention to verse 33, and make sure you have your Strongs in front of you. If you don't, you can see that Strong's also available online. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba and called there on the name of Yehovah, the everlasting Elohim. And Abimelech sojourned in the Philistines' land in many days. So I want us to pay close attention to planting of the grove. The reason why I want us to pay attention is because I remember when I was studying this previously, and when I was trying to understand the Torah, and I remember as I was going through it that there was other groves. There were many other groves. But for this grove, I want to give you the Strong's numbers. It is H815, and that's the tamarisk tree. I'm sorry. And so Yehovah is being honored by Abraham when he planted this grove. So this tree of worship, the Elohim, um, you will see this grove throughout the Tanakh, but not all groves are equal. And this is why when we study, we have to look up some of these words, because I'm going to give you another grove, and hopefully I can give this clear understanding to you. So back in not back, but in Judges chapter 6, verse 25, I want to read this to you. And it came to pass that same night that Yehovah said unto him, Take thy father's young bullock, even to the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal, for some people say, that thy father have cut down the grove, and cut down the grove that is by it. Again, throw down the altar of Baal, that thy father hath, and cut down the grove that it is by it. This is Judges chapter 6. So I recommend, of course, you read it in its entirety so you would kind of get the grasp of understanding what Jehovah is trying to cleanse. But again, not all groves are equal. The grove that we read in Genesis chapter 1, verse 33, that number is H815, like we spoke of, and that's the tamarix tree. Here in Judges, that is number H842, and that's a totally different definition. This grove in Judges is a worship idol. It's an idol worship. The worship name in this grove in Judges is Asherah or Asherah. It depends on which one you decide to use. Now, this is a pole. This is a goddess of the Canaanite Babylonian goddess that is being worshipped in the grove in the book of Judges. So when you read grove, you cannot accept all groves as equal, because we see the grove, Abraham, he is worshiping the everlasting Elohim, Yehovah. And other groves in other areas, there are people who are doing idol worship. So I don't want us to overlook these small words that has a totally different meaning when you get the understanding of what that word means. So again, there is an idol worship that we know that Abraham was not doing. Abraham again was worshiping um, Yehovah. He was not worshiping other gods. So if you do not look this up in the Strongs, what you will find is everyone assuming that this grove is like Abraham's grove, and it's not. The many other groves is worshiping idols and not Elohim. At this moment, we have just finished Genesis chapter 21, and I know this was short today, and it was meant to be short because I want people to take the opportunity to do a deeper depth study in Genesis each and every time. Just that word grove will give you a different understanding of the scriptures that you're reading. And that will happen throughout the scriptures if you pay attention to it. If I don't see any questions or any comments that needed on today, and that's okay, because you have an opportunity during the replay to ask questions, make comments, and share the video. I do answer those questions on the replay, and I appreciate every last one of you. And I really hope that this week is going for y'all, though it's just Tuesday. But I pray that you have a blessed rest of the week. As always, man does not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yehovah. Again, have a blessed rest of the week, and I appreciate every last one of you that came on today. Thank you.